I step into the Oakwood Country Club and freeze. The grand ballroom stretches before me like a battlefield dressed in white roses and crystal. Mother outdid herself. The chandelier light bounces off silver chargers and champagne flutes, bathing the room in a glow that feels both welcoming and warning. My navy dress suddenly feels like armor, simple, elegant, purposeful. Around me, women flutter in beaded gowns and statement jewelry, peacocks in a garden party. I straighten my spine, grip my small clutch tighter. Through the crowd, I spot them. Mother and father stand near the elaborate gift table, greeting guests with practiced smiles. Mother's eyes scan the room constantly, monitoring, assessing. Father nods mechanically, his attention on Congressman Wilson's animated story. I approach them with measured steps. Mother notices me first, her smile flickering like a faulty light bulb. "Oh, Avery, you made it." She kisses my cheek. "We weren't sure you would." "I RSVP'd yes," I reply, keeping my voice steady. Father glances at me, his gaze sliding over my dress with barely concealed disappointment. "Avery, good to see you." He checks his watch. "The Hendersons just arrived." "Eleanor, we should." "Yes, of course." Mother squeezes my arm. "Find your seat, dear. The ceremony starts in 20 minutes. They're gone before I can respond, weaving through the crowd toward more important connections. The seating chart directs me to table 14. I follow the numbered tables, walking deeper into the ballroom, past the dance floor, beyond the ornate ice sculpture. Table 14 sits tucked beside swinging kitchen doors, partially hidden by a large floral arrangement. My name card rests next to the server station. I order a gin and tonic from a passing waiter and scan the room. Every Thompson family wedding I've attended occupied the center tables. Not this one. Not me. My phone buzzes in my purse. A text from Jay. "Landed. Traffic from airport. Be there soon." A slight smile crosses my lips. "Still doing that freelance stuff, isn't she?" The whispered words float from behind the floral arrangement, Aunt Catherine's distinctive nasal tone. "Such a shame," another voice answers Aunt Margaret. "She had such potential, but some people just don't have what it takes for the real world." I sip my drink, the ice cubes clinking against glass. "Avery, there you are." Aunt Margaret rounds the flowers, her face a mask of surprise as if she hadn't been discussing me seconds ago. She clutches her champagne flute, diamonds glittering on her fingers. "Still single at 32? The clock is ticking, dear." "I'm quite happy with my life, Aunt Margaret." She pats my arm. "Of course you are. We just worry. Not everyone finds their path as quickly as Claire." Uncle Frank appears beside her, ruddy-faced and already half-drunk. "Speaking of Claire, there's a girl who did things right. Got herself a real husband with prospects." He looks me up and down. "Your little drawings paying the bills these days?" My phone buzzes again. I check it instead of answering him. Another message from Jay. "Almost there. You okay?" I type back. "Perfect timing." "Important client?" Uncle Frank asks, smirking. "Something like that." I stand taller, shoulders back. "The ceremony's starting soon," Aunt Margaret says. "We should find our seats up front with the family." They walk away, leaving me at my kitchen-adjacent table. For a moment, I consider slipping out the side door. I picture the invitation that arrived just 5 days ago, Mother's voice on the phone. "You don't have to come if you're busy with your projects." Claire's voice, cool and dismissive. "We're keeping the wedding sophisticated, Avery." Father's question, "Do you need help with appropriate attire?" I straighten the silverware at my place setting. "Not this time. I'm not running." A slight commotion near the entrance draws my attention. The wedding coordinator, thin woman, with a clipboard and frantic eyes hurries toward me. "Excuse me, are you Avery Thompson?" She frowns at her clipboard. "Are you really Claire's sister? You weren't on my list for family seating." "Yes, I'm Claire's sister." My voice comes out steady, stronger than I expect. They're gathering for photos before the ceremony. The mother of the bride specifically requested family only. She looks uncomfortable. I follow her to where my family stands arranged on the grand staircase. Claire in her wedding gown, mother and father flanking her, future in-laws beaming. "Mother, the photographer is waiting for the sister of the bride," the coordinator announces. Claire's eyes widen. Mother steps forward, blocking my path. "Oh, we've already taken most of the shots," Claire says quickly. Avery doesn't photograph well with the family anyway. Mother leans toward the coordinator. Let's just make this quick before she makes a scene. I smile, a real one this time. Don't worry, Mother, the real scene hasn't even started yet. The coordinator's earpiece crackles. She listens, her expression shifting from annoyance to surprise. I'm sorry to interrupt, she says to the wedding party, but we have an unexpected situation at the main entrance. A very important guest has arrived. I check my watch. Right on time. Claire stands at the microphone, her voice lilting through a story about her husband's proposal. The wedding planner scurries past, fingers pressed to her earpiece, whispering urgently to staff members who suddenly straighten their postures. My sister falters mid-sentence as heads begin turning toward the entrance. Is everything all right? Claire asks, her perfect smile slipping. Mother rises slightly from her seat near the head table, craning her neck. What's happening? She hisses to Father, who merely shrugs, annoyed at the interruption. The wedding planner approaches the bridal party, apologetic. I'm so sorry again to interrupt, but we have an unexpected situation at the entrance. A ripple of murmurs spreads through the ballroom as the sleek black Bentley pulls up outside the floor-to-ceiling windows, visible to everyone, impossible to ignore. I remain seated, sipping my drink. The ice has melted, watering down the gin, but I barely notice. I'm focused on the doorway, waiting. Mother's hand clutches Father's arm. Robert, she whispers, not as quietly as she thinks. That's James Laurent from Laurent Hotels. The name echoes around the room, passing from table to table like an electric current. Claire stands frozen at the microphone, spotlight dimming as attention shifts away from her perfect moment. My mind drifts back to another spotlight, dimmed 20 years ago. I was 12, standing before an easel at the school art exhibition. My watercolor of our family home had won first place. The blue ribbon hung proudly beside it. Your parents couldn't make it? Mrs. Henderson, my art teacher, asked gently. They're at Claire's piano recital, I answered, the words practiced, the disappointment buried deep. When I brought the ribbon home, Mother glanced at it while sorting mail. That's nice, dear. Did you know Claire made first chair in the youth orchestra? 5 years later, the scholarship letter arrived from Rhode Island School of Design. Full tuition. I showed it to them over dinner, hands trembling with excitement. That's nice, Father said without looking up from his steak. But Claire made law review, top of her class. Mother sipped her wine. Art is a lovely hobby, Avery, but it's not a career for a Thompson. The years blurred together after that. My design awards lined a shelf in my apartment that my family never visited. My boyfriend Tom came to Sunday dinner once. Mother asked if he had real career plans while Father questioned his family background. Claire mentioned her friend who was single and worked at a real firm, not just drawing pictures. Tom was gone within a month. Last Christmas, Mother called with her careful suggestion. Perhaps you'd prefer to skip family Christmas this year, Avery. Claire's bringing home Richard to meet everyone, and you know how those questions can get uncomfortable. The memory dissolves as the main doors to the ballroom swing open. James Laurent strides in, tall and commanding, in a perfectly tailored suit. Not flashy, just impeccable, like everything he touches. The crowd parts for him instinctively. Women whisper behind manicured hands, men straighten their ties. Claire stands abandoned at the microphone as her moment evaporates. James scans the room, ignoring the social elite vying for his attention. His eyes find mine instantly, and he smiles that private smile I've grown to treasure. He walks directly to my table, the one tucked by the kitchen doors. Sorry I'm late, darling, he says, loud enough for nearby tables to hear. Paris negotiations ran longer than expected. He takes my hand, bringing it to his lips. Something shifts in the air of the ballroom. The wedding photographer, who hadn't bothered with my table before, swivels his camera toward us. The string quartet, following some sixth sense of where importance now resides, transitions smoothly to a new melody. James turns to face Claire and her stunned husband, who have approached our table. His warmth appears genuine as he extends his hand. You must be Claire. Avery has told me so much about you. Congratulations on your marriage. He reaches into his jacket and withdraws an envelope. A small wedding gift. A private villa at our Maldives property for your honeymoon. All arranged, of course. Claire accepts the envelope, speechless for perhaps the first time in her life. Mother and father materialize beside us, their expressions shifting rapidly between confusion and calculation. James, this is my mother, Eleanor, and my father, Robert. I say, my voice steady. Mr. Laurent, father says, extending his hand. What a pleasure. We followed your hotel acquisitions with great interest. Mother's smile is radiant. James, we're so delighted you could join us. Had we known you were coming? Why didn't you tell us about him? Father whispers urgently in my ear, his hand heavy on my shoulder. I look into his eyes, seeing clearly the father who never saw me. You made it clear I didn't matter, I reply, my voice soft but unwavering. I assumed you wouldn't care. His face pales as the weight of 2 decades of dismissal settles between us. James places his hand on the small of my back, steady and warm. Shall we get some champagne, darling? He nods toward the bar, giving me an escape if I want it. I don't. Not anymore. Yes, I say, rising from my hidden table. I believe it's time for a toast. 3 years earlier, I stand in my studio apartment, staring at the water stain spreading across my ceiling. The place smells of instant ramen and determination. My drafting tablet door balanced on milk crates occupies most of the living space. Sketches cover every surface, not the frivolous doodles my family imagines, but meticulous concept designs for luxury spaces. The screen of my laptop glows with another rejection email. This one stings worse than the others. Ms. Thompson, while your portfolio shows promise, we require designers with established commercial experience. The same circular problem. No experience means no clients. No clients means no experience. I crumple onto the secondhand sofa, allowing myself exactly 3 minutes of despair before my alarm chimes. Back to work. My phone rings. Mother. Avery, darling, Claire just made junior partner. Her voice brims with pride. We're having a celebration dinner Sunday. Perhaps you could wear that black dress from Christmas. The one that doesn't make you look quite so artistic. I have a deadline. I lie. Oh, the familiar disappointment. Well, your father and I were talking. If this design hobby isn't working out, Harrison at the bank could use someone in their marketing department. Entry level, of course, but with benefits. I hang up and stare at my portfolio. The Thompson family solution to all problems: lower your expectations, accept less, fit the mold. The rejection letters stack up like prison bars. Thompson Avery design isn't working. I pace the tiny kitchen, 4 steps in each direction. What if I became someone else? Someone without the Thompson legacy of expectations and disappointments? That night, I register a new business name, AE Designs. A month later, I sell my car to make rent. 6 weeks of rice and beans stretch ahead when my phone rings with an unknown number. Is this AE Designs? The voice sounds doubtful. The Westlake Hotel Group received your portfolio. We're undertaking a rebranding of our Chicago property. My heart hammers. Yes, this is AE Designs. I specialize in luxury hospitality branding. We're interviewing 3 firms. Your presentation is Tuesday at 10 a.m. I work for 70 hours straight. Sleep becomes a luxury I cannot afford. When I walk into that boardroom, my navy suit pressed and portfolio immaculate, 12 skeptical faces stare back. The oldest executive speaks first. Your firm is unfamiliar to us. Why should Westlake trust an unknown quantity? I place my presentation on the table. Because I see what others miss. Their silence after my presentation stretches uncomfortably. Then the CEO laughs. Well, I'll be damned. You nailed exactly what we've been trying to articulate for months. I leave with my first major contract. That weekend, Claire calls. Mom said you missed the family dinner again. I was working. Listen, Avery. Her voice softens into that patronizing tone reserved for children and pets. I know a person in HR at my firm. They need someone for the copy room. It would give you time to figure out your next steps. I have figured out my next steps. Really, Avery. At some point, you need to accept that not everyone gets to follow their passion. Some of us live in the real world. 2 weeks later, Father calls. Your mother and I discussed your situation. We'd like to help with your rent, just until you find something suitable. What's suitable? I already know the answer. Avery, we're worried. Your sister had established her career path by 27. You're still playing with colors and shapes. The money comes with one condition: you see the career counselor at my club. I decline. 6 months into my Westlake contract, I sit alone in my apartment surrounded by takeout containers and presentation boards. My phone buzzes with texts from my parents, each more concerned than the last about my situation. I consider, briefly, giving in, accepting their version of success, becoming the Avery they can understand. My laptop pings with an email. A design award nomination. For my work. For the vision they call childish. I win. The trophy sits on my nightstand where I see it every morning. I tell no one in my family. A year later, my phone rings during a presentation to new clients. I silence Claire's call without looking. After booking 3 new contracts, I listen to her voicemail. Just checking if you're coming to Thanksgiving. Mom says it's fine if you're too busy with your art projects. I send a polite decline and book a flight to Bali to oversee the installation of my designs at a new resort. The Laurent Hotels conference in Chicago marks the turning point. I stand beside my exhibition booth, watching attendees study my portfolio. A tall man in an impeccable suit approaches, examining my concept sketches for longer than most. These show remarkable insight, he says without looking up. You understand that luxury isn't about excess, but about perfect moments. That's exactly my philosophy. He extends his hand. James Laurent. I freeze. The James Laurent, owner of Laurent Hotels, the fastest growing luxury chain in the world. Avery Thompson. I shake his hand. Not E-Designs? His eyes crinkle with amusement. They're one and the same. Over dinner that night, he asks about my background. I give the sanitized version. He sees through it immediately. You speak about your family as if they're distant acquaintances. They prefer the fictional version of Metha one who failed at a cute hobby. James frowns. They don't know about your success? They've never asked. Our professional relationship evolves into long dinners discussing design philosophy, then weekend trips to property sites, then stolen kisses in hotel elevators. 5 months in, I find myself sitting in his penthouse, explaining why I keep my family separate from my real life. They've spent years telling me who I am, I explain. If I tell them now, they'll claim they supported me all along. I'm not ready to give them that victory. James takes my hand. You don't owe them your success story. A month before Claire's wedding, James proposes on the balcony of his Paris hotel. I say yes without hesitation, but ask for privacy until after Claire's wedding. Your sister's wedding? James raises an eyebrow. The one you were not genuinely invited to? I nod. I want one day where they see me clearly, without having time to rewrite history. Now, as James and I move through Claire's reception, the pieces fall into place. Wealthy guests recognize me, approaching with warm handshakes and congratulations on my recent hotel launch in Singapore. With each introduction, Claire's smile grows more strained. Avery designed the Maldives property? A silver-haired woman grips my arm. My husband and I stayed there last month. Spectacular concept. Mother appears at my elbow. Avery has always had such creative talents. We encouraged her artistic pursuits from childhood. I meet James's eyes across the room. He raises his glass slightly, a private toast to the truth we both know. I turn to introduce my fiancé to the only people in this room who matter to me, genuine friends who saw my worth before anyone else did. James signals to the band leader, who nods in understanding. The quartet transitions into a softer melody as James walks toward the stage, with the easy confidence of a man accustomed to commanding rooms. His hand brushes mine before he steps away. Ladies and gentlemen, the MC announces, Mr. James Laurent would like to offer a toast. Claire's new husband shifts uncomfortably in his chair. Mother's spine straightens to steel rod perfection. Father's eyes narrow with sudden calculation. James accepts the microphone with a warm smile. Thank you all for welcoming me to this beautiful celebration. While I haven't had the pleasure of knowing Claire and William long, I wanted to raise a glass to someone who has made an extraordinary impact on my life and my business. His eyes find mine across the room. Many of you know Avery Thompson as Claire's sister. What you might not know is that under her professional name, A.E., Designs. Avery has become one of the most sought-after luxury brand designers in the world. The room falls silent. A champagne flute slips from Aunt Margaret's fingers, splashing onto the tablecloth. Her visionary work graces the lobbies of Laurent properties from Bangkok to Barcelona. Her signature aesthetic has transformed ordinary spaces into extraordinary experiences for our guests. James raises his glass. And in 3 months, I'll have the honor of making her my wife at our flagship Paris hotel. The whispers begin instantly, rippling through the reception like wildfire. Uncle Frank's mouth hangs open. The photographer abandons Claire's table to capture this unexpected moment. To Avery, James concludes, whose brilliance is matched only by her grace. As James returns to my side, Mother intercepts him, her social smile firmly in place. James, how wonderful to meet you properly. We've always encouraged Avery's artistic talents. The lie slides from her lips with practiced ease. Even as a child, we knew she had something special. Really? James tilts his head. She mentioned you suggested accounting as a more suitable career path. Father materializes beside Mother, hand extended. Robert Thompson, I understand you're expanding the Laurent portfolio into the Midwest market. Perhaps we should discuss potential investment opportunities. Perhaps, James says without commitment, though my financial team handles those decisions. Claire appears at my elbow, her white gown rustling. She links her arm through mine with unfamiliar sisterly affection. Avery and I have always been so close. I've been her biggest champion from day one. I extract my arm gently. That's not quite how I remember our childhood, Claire. Don't be silly. She laughs too loudly. Remember how I displayed your little drawings all over my college dorm? Those were my competition sketches you took without asking, I say quietly. The ones that won the national scholarship. James's hand finds the small of my back, a silent reinforcement of boundaries. The wedding photographer approaches, lens focused on us. Mrs. Laurent, to be, could I get a few shots of you and Mr. Laurent? It's still Miss Thompson, I correct her. And I believe the bride should be the focus tonight. Oh, we have plenty of the bride, the photographer assures me. My editor will want the Laurent angle for the society page. Claire's smile tightens at the edges. Across the reception, Father's business associates migrate toward our corner of the room. Mother's social circle suddenly discovers an intense interest in international design. One of Claire's new in-laws asks me about career opportunities for her design school daughter. Your work is remarkable, she says. Claire never mentioned her sister was the AE Designs. Claire didn't know, I answer honestly. The wedding planner materializes with a business card extended. I specialize in high-profile events. Perhaps for your Paris wedding? I understand Laurent events set industry standards. I accept her card with a genuine thank you, while Claire watches, her bouquet clutched in white-knuckled fingers. When James steps away to take a call, Mother corners me near the dessert table. Her eyes glisten with sudden tears. Why didn't you tell us, Avery? Family is everything. We could have celebrated your success together. The same way you celebrated my art school acceptance or my first design award. The words come out steady, not bitter. Father joins us, clearing his throat. Business is business, Avery. We simply wanted security for you. Creative fields are so unpredictable. My company grossed $3 million last year. His eyebrows lift. Before he can respond, Claire storms over, veil trailing behind her. You're ruining my wedding, she hisses. Everyone's talking about you and your hotel boyfriend instead of me and William. I look at my sister, really look at her, seeing both the jealous woman before me and the little girl who always needed the spotlight. I'm just being myself, Claire. I smooth a wrinkle from my navy dress. For the first time, you're seeing me. Mother reaches for my hand. Darling, please. No. The single word stops her cold. I didn't come to steal anyone's spotlight, but I won't hide anymore either. James returns, standing beside me rather than behind me. Together but separate. Equals. Claire's photographer captures the moment, my family finally seeing the woman I've become, while I simply stand my ground. Half an hour later, I follow Mother's beckoning finger through the reception hall toward a private room tucked behind the gift display. Her diamond tennis bracelet catches the light as she grips my elbow, steering me away from watching eyes. Father walks 3 paces ahead, his shoulders squared with the same rigid posture he assumes during board meetings. Claire trails behind, whispering furiously to her new husband who looks increasingly uncomfortable. The door closes behind us with a soft click. Uncle Frank, Aunt Margaret, and Aunt Catherine are already waiting, perched like vultures on velvet chairs. What exactly do you think you're doing? Mother doesn't waste time. Her voice carries the sharp edge I recognize from childhood transgressions, muddy shoes on clean floors, fingerprints on glass cabinets. Attending my sister's wedding, I say, folding my hands in front of me. Father paces the perimeter of the small room. You know that's not what this is about, Avery. Claire steps forward, her wedding gown rustling. You deliberately brought him here to sabotage my day. Her mascara has smudged slightly at the corners. You couldn't stand that for once. Everyone was looking at me instead of you. I almost laugh. When has anyone in this family ever looked at me first? Oh, now you're the victim? Aunt Catherine sniffs. After hiding your relationship with one of the wealthiest men in the country? We didn't hide anything. You never asked. Because you never gave us reason to. Mother's voice rises, then drops as she remembers the guests beyond the door. All these years, letting us think you were struggling with your little art projects, barely making ends meet. When did I ever say I was struggling? I look each of them in the eye. You assumed. You never once asked to see my work or my apartment or my office. Uncle Frank snorts. Why would we? Claire was making partner at her firm while you were doodling for a living. James Laurent doesn't hire doodlers, Uncle Frank, I say quietly. Father stops pacing. This is about how this looks to everyone out there. He gestures toward the ballroom. Our friends, our colleagues, they think we didn't know about your success or your relationship. You didn't. That's beside the point, Mother hisses. Family doesn't embarrass family like this. Claire's husband shifts uncomfortably against the wall. Her voice rises to a pitch I remember from teenage arguments. I want you and James to leave, right now. We gave you everything, Father says, his tone softening into something more dangerous, the voice he uses when closing business deals. The best schools, opportunities, connections. We can put all this behind us, be a real family again, but this behavior has to stop. Mother dabs at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Do you know how hard we've worked to maintain our standing? What will people say about parents who don't even know what their own daughter does for a living? The room falls silent as I absorb their words. Every accusation confirms what I've always known but never fully acknowledged. I straighten my spine and take a breath. When I was 16, I begin, my voice steady. I won the National Young Artist Competition. My painting hung in the Kennedy Center for 3 months. You didn't come to the ceremony because Claire had a tennis match. I turned to my sister. When I graduated with honors from RISD, Mom spent the entire weekend talking about your law school acceptance. Dad asked if I planned to get a real job at the celebration dinner. Father opens his mouth, but I hold up my hand. 3 years ago, I landed the Laurent Hotel's accountant of the most sought-after design contracts in the industry. Last year, my work was featured in Architectural Digest. Did you know I maintain apartments in Chicago and Paris? That I employ 7 people? That I've turned down job offers from companies you worship at dinner parties? Aunt Margaret shifts in her chair. Well, if you had told us. I stopped telling you things when it became clear you weren't listening. I looked directly at my parents. I didn't come here to take Claire's spotlight. I came to stop hiding. The door opens behind me. James stands in the threshold, his presence filling the room without a word. Everything all right? His voice carries the same quiet authority that commands boardrooms, but his eyes are only on me. We're having a family discussion, Mother says, her smile brittle. I can see that. James steps beside me, not touching, but close enough that I feel his warmth. Avery, if you'd like to leave, our car is ready. She can't leave. What will people think? Claire's voice cracks. I think, James says carefully, that they'll think whatever they choose to think. But I'm more concerned with what Avery wants. Something shifts in the room like air pressure changing before a storm. For the first time, I see uncertainty cross my father's face. Mother's hand trembles slightly as she clutches her handkerchief. Claire looks suddenly small in her massive gown. I'd like to return to the reception, I say. Unless you prefer we leave? The challenge hangs in the air. Father's shoulders drop a fraction. Of course you should stay. This is a misunderstanding. We walk toward the door together, James's hand finding the small of my back. As we step through the doorway, I hear my mother's muffled sob, not the theatrical kind she uses to manipulate, but something raw and genuine. "Are you all right?" James whispers as we pause in the hallway. "Better than I've been in years," I answer truthfully. When we return to the ballroom, Claire's husband approaches us immediately. "I'm sorry about all that," he says quietly. "I had no idea." Across the room, Father watches us, something like recognition finally dawning in his eyes. Mother hasn't emerged from the private room yet. James leads me to the dance floor without asking, and as we move together, I feel dozens of eyes on us. For once, I don't mind being seen. The night air hits my face like freedom after the reception is over for us an hour later, and James and I step through the country club's front entrance and the side door, not the kitchen exit. The massive oak doors frame our departure, my hand tucked into the crook of his arm. Behind us, the muffled sounds of Claire's reception continue, but they seem to belong to another world entirely. "You're smiling," James says, his voice low and warm against my ear. "The real smile." "I am. The one that shows my right dimple, the one I've spent years hiding at family gatherings." It feels like putting down something heavy I've been carrying for decades. I take a deep breath, filling my lungs completely. "Did you see Mother's face when Senator Wilson asked about my Paris project?" James laughs, the sound rich in the quiet parking lot. "I was more impressed by how quickly your father pivoted from 'my daughter the dabbler' to 'my daughter the design visionary.'" A valet appears with the Bentley, and James tips him generously. As we slide into the leather seats, I kick off my heels with a contented sigh. "Worth it?" James asks, starting the engine. I consider this as we pull away, watching the country club's elaborate facade shrink in the side mirror. Yes. Not for their validation that stopped mattering somewhere between Aunt Margaret's sudden interest in my fascinating career and Uncle Frank asking if I needed investors. The headlights cut through darkness, illuminating the road ahead. James reaches over, his fingers finding mine, the platinum engagement ring catching the dashboard lights. "Claire caught me at the coat check," I say. "She asked if I had been hiding my success to hurt her." "And?" I told her the truth, that I stopped sharing my life because they stopped seeing it. The memory of her face softened something in me. For the first time, I think she actually heard me. James navigates the winding road away from the club, the trees making patterns of shadow and light across the windshield. "Do you think they'll ever see you for who you are?" My phone buzzes. A text from Mother. "We should talk soon, perhaps lunch next week?" Another follows from Father. "Your work is impressive, Avery. I was wrong to dismiss it. I apologize." "Maybe," I say, showing James the messages. "But on my terms now, not theirs." The tension that's lived between my shoulder blades for years has loosened. I lean back, watching the stars through the sunroof. "I'm thinking about our wedding." "The Laurent Hotel Paris ballroom awaits your command," James says with exaggerated formality that makes me laugh. "Though after tonight, I'm wondering if you'd prefer something smaller." "No, I want the ballroom." I turn to look at him. "And I want them there, Mother, Father, Claire, not because I need them, but because I'm not hiding anymore." The country club lights disappear completely as we round a bend. Ahead, the highway stretches toward Chicago, toward home, toward the life we're building. "What did you learn from all this?" James asks quietly. I watch the road unfurling before us, bright in the headlights. The answer comes with the certainty of something I've always known but never articulated. "The greatest revenge isn't making a scene," I tell him, my voice steady and clear. "It's living your truth so loudly they can't pretend you don't exist." His hand squeezes mine, warm and solid. The engagement ring catches the light again, no longer hidden, like me.